Hey folks, Matt here. I usually don't pop on to these things before the episode start, but I wanted to just give a little bit of a preview of what this show is about. This is Crappie Talk Live, not Bass Talk Live. It started kind of a passion project this year where we are trying to teach bass anglers how to catch giant crappie kind of all across the country. It's something that I've gotten into for the last 5 years. Really enjoy doing it, but I wanted to say, hey, if you are not into the crappie game, I hope you give it a shot. But if you're not into the crappie game, it will not impact at all the content that comes out from BTL. Bass Talk Live, Monday through Wednesdays, day 4 with Uncle Frank, all of the same content. This is just additional content kind of targeted towards those bass anglers who are looking to get into new species, try new things, experience new stuff on the water. So without further ado, the first episode of Crappie Talk Live, coming to you on your favorite MP3 podcast platform. There's going to be 8 to 10 of these episodes. Just kind of run through the winter, through February, and then back to bass fishing 100% of the time. But without further ado, episode 1 of Crappie Talk Live. Welcome to the first episode of Crappie Talk Live, CTL, a little passion project that we've been working on. Matt Pangrac, your co-host. Sitting across from me is Zeke Anderson. Zeke, we're actually doing this. I know we talked about it for about 2 years. The BTL, the Bass Talk Live listeners have had to put up with me talking about crappie fishing for the last 4 or 5 years, and now we're going to kind of give them a little look into the world of crappie. I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're going to run through this year. We're going to run this entire season, what we're going to talk about, the things we're going to cover, how we're going to do it. We're going to kind of give you a play-by-play. So even if you have never caught a crappie before, hopefully by the end of these 8 to 10 weeks, we're going to run it kind of through February, 8 to 12 episodes. You will be what do they call them, a crappie master?
Crappie master, sure. Super excited to be a part of this. It's so fun to be able to teach people how to get into this sport, how to catch these fish, how to target these fish. And, I'm just really, really excited to get into it and dive into it. Obviously, I've been on BTL a few times over the years, and every time I come on, Matt and I both seem to get a lot of messages and comments wanting to learn more about this. So we started talking about this 2.5 years ago, and we're finally making it happen. So
one of the things that I want to emphasize as we get into this, first of all, we'll kind of lay out the format of what we're going to do. What you kind of saw there was a preview of a video. Now, I hadn't edited video in 3+ years since I did them for the Bassmaster Opens, for the AFCO Bass Boot Camp, and all that stuff back in the day. So we broke the cameras out, broke the GoPros, the audio stuff, had to buy a bunch more new editing stuff, and broke it down. So the way this is going to work, Zeke, and for our viewers and listeners here, is there will be bi-weekly live shows. So 2 times a month we'll be in the studio, we'll be breaking it down, and then on the off weeks that we're not live, a video will drop that will be in coordination with that live show. So every show will open with that video, and then we'll talk about it, but that video will drop as a standalone video with additional information on its own. So every Tuesday evening, a new CTL episode will drop. Every other one will be live in studio. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for this year. We have Fishing Chaos on board. We have a pretty substantial online crappie tournament that we're going to run with 100% of the proceeds going to St. Jude. That's going to take place in January. We have giveaways starting on the next live show, rods, baits, tackle, line, all sorts of stuff for it. And we're going to take you from this time of the year, November 11th, 2025, all the way through the winter. Now, if you're up north and it's frozen, there's a channel called the Crappie Chronicles. Adam Bartuzek, Matt Waldron, Adam Griffin, Ryan Pincala. They're your ice fishing crappie guys.
Yes, I'm definitely not the ice fishing guru. I promise you that. I'd love to go do it with them sometime.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like a blast.
I've done it. It's super cool. But right off the hopper, talk about kind of the demographic, the target, the areas of the country that CTL is going to cover, and kind of who's going to be kind of applicable for this information that we're going to cover.
So a lot of what we're going to be doing is vertical crappie fishing, and across the southern states for sure, from Oklahoma east to Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. These methods apply up to Kansas, Missouri. Illinois is a huge crappie state. Wren Lake up there is a great lake to crappie fish, and using these same tactics that we're going to be talking about over the next few months. So it's really applicable in a lot of states, especially where a lot of fishermen live across the South, and even up, throughout the Midwest. The same tactics are going to apply. When you get in those northern states, it's a little bit different. We'll dive into that in a different episode and talk about how to do that. We've got an idea of a video we want to go do, and hopefully we can make it happen to show you how to target those crappie up in the northern states as well.
Yeah, when it's not. This year, we're going to fish a lot in Oklahoma. That's where both you and I live. That's where I kind of learned how to do it. That's where you cut your teeth, learning how to do it. We'll venture into Arkansas. We'll venture into Kansas. We'll venture into Missouri. We're going to head to Alabama to catch some. And there is an outside chance, depending on how all this works, that we may head to Clear Lake out in California. And catch some of those giants as well.
That's a bucket list trip for me, as you well know. We've talked about it a lot. If we can get out there at some point, that would be incredible. And you guys do not want to miss that footage, I promise.
And I see people like, will this work in Ontario? Will this work up north? How about Michigan? Zeke, your thoughts on that? It's kind of applicable. You have to change the time of the year, and then some of the fisheries, the way we're fishing, you may have to search a little bit harder to find a matching fishery in historically clear water and grass heavy lakes. So briefly, because we're going to do a probably entire episode about this, so you guys stay tuned for that. But briefly, I'll say those northern lakes up in Michigan and Wisconsin and everywhere up north, it's typically clear water. And they have a lot of black crappie up there. Down here, we have a lot of white crappie, mostly white crappie. Don't ask me why that is, but black crappie love the clear water. They seem to thrive there. And typically those fish in the wintertime, they school up, and you've got to stay back off of them and cast to them more than what we're doing in this video tonight was vertical jigging. So, but I hope that we can get on a lake that I know about over in Arkansas and do a whole video and episode on how to target those fish. And throughout the year, we're going to target a different, it's all a similar tactic, right? You mentioned the vertical jigging. For just kind of the posterity of the entire show, let's run through the basics of what we're going to get on right off the top. And as this goes, we're going to give you exact rods, exact models, exact line, exact jigs, the exact things that you guys need to make this happen. The one thing that I find refreshing and cool about the crappie fishing is it's not bass fishing. You don't need 7 boxes of crankbaits, 3 boxes of jerk baits, 100 different packs of things. You can get as detailed or as simple as you want to in crappie fishing. But the beautiful thing is 90% of the time I'll have 1 or 2 rods on the front deck. I will not change that jig other than a soft plastic if I am, or if the jig actually the hair gets eaten off of it, which you will see in certain shows this year where we're catching so many. But it's simple for your initial investment. As far as the tackle is concerned, it's not like you're retooling your bass arsenal.
No, it is completely different. Completely different. I mean, you can spend a few $100 and be set up, ready to go. Literally $300. And I mean, the rods we use, I've been using them for 10 years now. Power crappie rods. Love them.
Those are the orange ones with the white tips.
That's right. The ones you saw us fishing with in the video. And to Matt's point that he just said, you have 1 or 2 rods on the deck of the boat. You might have more in your rod boxes or whatever. But for that video, we literally pulled 2 rods out of Matt's rod box and put them on the deck. And that's what we used all day long. So
reel wise, ironically too, is the same thing. You can literally take reels off of your bass rods and put them on. If you notice those are really light reels. That was like the first generation of the Revo MGX from 2012. So, you know, a little bit of the thumb bar, a little bit of wiggle in it, but you know, at the time it was $400 reel, but they'd been sitting in my garage for 5 years and move on, was using different reels. Those are what you use. You'll go into this more. The term you use for the rod, which I think the rod is probably the most intimidating and the most intriguing factor of this whole Crappie Talk live thing, is the 12 to 16 foot crappie rod that we use. Exactly.
And it definitely takes a little bit of time to get used to just maneuvering this giant rod. I mean, a 12-foot rod to me at this point seems like a short rod for crappie fishing. It's still my favorite rod to use if the fish are cooperating and I don't have to bust out a longer one. But a 12, 13, 14 foot is what I go to start out any crappie trip I'm on. And a little intimidating. I remember when I got my first 10.5-foot rod and I was going, holy smokes, I can reach anything. And then he came out with a 12 and I was like, oh my goodness, I can reach everything. And now there's rods that are kind of getting out of control that are 18 and 20 foot long. I try to stick to the 12, 13, 14 foot rods. And I love these power crappie rods because they're stiffer rods. They've got the backbone. I'm not a big net guy unless I'm, you know, out in Mississippi catching 3-pound fish consistently. But I just want to boat flip these fish in and not have to worry about my rod handling it, the line handling it. And like Matt said, you can pull your bass reels off your bass rods. We're using anywhere from 14 to 17 pound fluorocarbon line, Sunline. And it's been great line. I've been using it for the past couple of years. Really enjoy it. And we'll get in later to talking about the differences between using fluorocarbon versus mono versus braid. I've got a lot of crappie friends that are really into it, and they love using braid. I switched to fluoro just a few years ago, as you know.
I'm showing here some of the rod and some of the movement on it. Question came in already. Any downside to using spinning reels? And when I first started for the first year, I used spinning reel.
Yeah.
I'm interested in your take is on, you know, using a spinning reel on these rods as well.
I started out using spinning reels when I first started doing this. For the first few years, I was using spinning reels, and I probably did that because that's what I had the most of, if I'm being honest. And you can absolutely use spinning reels. It's no problem. The reason I use open face bait cast reels pretty much exclusively now, unless I'm casting to them, is just the fact that I feel like I can control that bait more precisely. Very easy to strip line, very easy just to thumb the spool. There's a lot of times that I'll drop on a fish and I won't even click my bail. I'll just have my thumb on the spool.
Yep.
Because that way I can quickly let a little more line out or bring a little up if I need to. And you'll also notice that I've got my off hand, usually my left hand. If the bail is clicked, it's on my line just above the reel, and I'm raising and lowering that bait.
I'm looking at this picture of the video that I have here. You've got it behind your back like that, which is kind of like your go-to move. We might actually do like a short video of like the trick shots of catching them. Like you'll go under your leg, behind your back, behind the boat. Like, look, like once you get used to it, one of the things I say is it's crazy to me how cumbersome, heavy, and impossible a 14-foot rod seems when you first pick it up and put it in your hands. Like, I remember you gave me that first 14-footer, and I had a Denali 14-footer, and I put this thing together, and I'm like, what in the hell? And I remember the first couple of times I went, I'm constantly tangled up. Now, it literally feels as comfortable as a 7-foot medium bass rod. You don't tangle it up. You don't it is literally just a matter of spending time with it and familiarizing yourself with it. And I would say after 3 to 5 trips, it won't even cross your mind the length of the rod. Question, you said, could I use a 7-Eleven crankbait rod to start?
Sure.
You could, yes. What would you say that the starter rod needs to be a 12-footer, though? There is a massive difference. If you watch on the video where we're setting that at 30 foot, a 12-foot rod reaches a third of that distance. A 15-foot rod reaches half of that distance on the screen. And you can see, and you'll go into this as we kind of dive in, we might go a little bit longer than an hour tonight, is the vertical or the vertical presentation on that fish and being able to hold it and not pendulum it past it or over it. And you can see that in the video that you watch is the key. And it's hard to do that with anything less than a 12-footer.
It's tough. I mean, you know, to me, if you want to get into it, start with a 12-foot rod. Start with a 12-foot rod, get used to it, and then you're naturally going to notice that you want a 13 and a 14-foot rod. I think the longest rod that I use now is 15 foot, and that's on lakes that are typically outside of Oklahoma. Now, what you're seeing with these fish on timber, in regards to your 7-Eleven rod comment, I think it was, these fish on timber, the day that we were there last week, this was just a few days ago, they were stuck to it. They were very lethargic fish. You had to get the bait right on their nose to get them to react and hopefully get a bite. So they weren't boat shy. They were deep. They were 16 to 22 foot deep in the water column, about roughly 25 foot of water most of the day. And so you could get the boat right on top of them. They weren't spooky, nothing. They were very lethargic. So on day, but
right here on just pulled it up here, the power crappie website. The website is actually toddhuckabeerods.com. What model would you say is a good starter model? And we will have giveaways for some of the rods on this too, but I'm looking at this and this is one of the most intimidating things, fortunately. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, because I don't want to cover crappie tournaments. I don't want to pretend that I'm a crappie pro. I have a screenshot, and I've sent you all of them, of the guys going, teach me. So I said, well, let's teach and have fun while we're doing it. So this is literally, as a bass guy to you, you would come and say, hey, this is it. So I know I've got my rod selection I've got about a half dozen of the Denali's, and then I've got a 12, a 13, a 14, and two 15s of the Huckabees.
Yep.
And I don't feel like I need any more rods.
No, I know you really don't.
But which one would you say? Like, I'm seeing 3 of the 13s. There's the Jerry Hancock. There's the Huckabee Trident. That 13-foot Trident is a badass rod to kick things off with, right?
Yeah, that's what I fished with in that entire video, is 13-foot Trident. My favorite rod is the 12-foot slab swinger. It's been in the lineup for years now. It's proven. It's just a phenomenal rod.
I would say that's probably the best starter rod you can get right there. $124, the 12-foot slab swinger. It is what, a 2-piece rod?
2-piece.
So it collapses down to 6 foot, and that right there for $124, the Power Crappie Todd Huckabee Signature Series slab swinger is a fantastic starting rod.
Phenomenal rod. If you want to buy a couple of them, go ahead and get you a Trident as well.
And that's just a 13.
So they go to 3-piece once they go to 13 foot and longer.
Yeah.
We tested a bunch of stuff in 2-piece with 13 and 14-foot rods, and they just weren't holding up. So we went ahead and went to 3-piece with them, and they've been great. Here's the other thing. If you want to buy 2 rods, what I would probably do is get a 12-foot slab swinger and a 15-foot Ghost. And that's as long as I go. The 15-foot Ghost is a great rod. And that's those days that you'll see later on in the series that the fish are a little spookier and you got to stay back off of them a little bit.
I would go out with the slab swinger for the first 4 or 5 times.
100%.
I would leave the 15-foot rod at home, and I would just have my buddies over and drink beer and say, look at this thing.
100%. Put it together and you can all laugh at it in the driveway.
Wait until the 12-footer feels like a 7-foot medium spinning rod, and then graduate to the 15-footer.
You're absolutely correct. Just saying, if you buy 2 at a time, you might save a little on shipping.
100% like that. There's the 15-foot Ghost. Now, we'll just kind of dig into the rods because I think that's kind of the draw of this thing, is that gigantic rod that you use.
Yeah.
the action on that rod, for people who don't understand like this, they're thinking crappie, you're thinking a spinning rod, you're thinking a panfish rod. The best way I've been able to equate it is it's like a mixture of scoping for smallmouth, but your rod is like you're punching for largemouth on Okeechobee.
It's the perfect way to put it from a bass fisherman standpoint. I've never really thought about it that way, but it's a perfect way to describe it. These rods, and you'll see me a lot in these videos, on the water videos that we're doing. You'll see me killing my back, reaching out, leaning forward, bending over, trying to reach fish, even using a 13, 14, 15 foot rod. I'll still do that. And there's reasons for that we'll get into. But it's mostly so much about boat control and so much about bait presentation. And different days require better boat control and better bait presentation and different presentations. So
it is, you said it's a glorified cane pole.
Yeah, it is a glorified cane pole. That's what we are doing. Imagine being 5 years old, bobber fishing with a cane pole again. That's essentially what we're doing, except we have x-ray vision, as my dad likes to say. Mm-hmm. He always says, I'm just glad I lived long enough to get x-ray vision.
Yeah, so let's deal with that right now. I've had you on BTL, Bass Talk Live, and you basically went through the evolution of forward-facing sonar in the crappie world and in the tournaments and how it's kind of revolutionized that. I do not want this to be a forum on that. We unabashedly and unapologetically use forward-facing sonar on this. If you can see in the videos and stuff, we will have a cast, catch, count, and mount, catch and release into the grease episode where we do a crappie fry, talk about how you cook them. There's a number of different ways that we can do all that. But 90% of the crappie we catch on this thing go straight back into the lake after we catch them. You can see that in this episode. Anything over 2 pounds goes back into the lake. That's by choice. In Oklahoma, you can keep 37 crappie legally unless you're on like a Grand Lake or a 10 kilo or somewhere that has another, but there is no length limit and it's 37 crappie unless otherwise stated.
Any core veneer lake in Oklahoma is 37 fish limit for crappie, no length limit.
Did you ever figure out why? I've heard that it's because when it came up, there were 37 senators or whatever that were voting on it, and they said, I want one for each of us.
I have no idea why it's that way.
But the majority of this and these tactics, and as you can see with editing the video and the video that we watched at the beginning, live scope, active target,
Hummingbird,
Mega Live 2.
Yep.
Integral. To the majority of what we're doing. We will do a live scope free episode
without forward-facing sonar. I did it for years before it came out.
Yeah.
Do I necessarily enjoy doing it now? It'd be fun doing it if we're filming. It might be a short-lived episode, but we'll go do it.
But I mean, I see you can do a slip cork under a minnow, work on brush piles, kind of walk on. We'll do an episode of that with the live bait, with all of that. But for the standpoint of that, live scope is going to be an integral part of that. And one of the cool things, one of the most frustrating things it is when you come to editing this is at CTL, we're dedicated to showing the skill, the technique, and the tactic that it takes to put a bait on something that's the size of a dime in a 12-mile-an-hour wind with rocks there. You're not just dropping it on the fish. We're actually going out and recording tomorrow, and I'm really excited because that's where we're going to get into pushing and bringing it over the fish and how you're dropping it on the fish and how you're presenting that bait to it. So that's all type of stuff that when I'm answering DMs and stuff with the guys who want to know how to crappie, like you can't explain that. You have to show it.
Yeah. And that's one of the big reasons we started doing this when we did. We had an unusually long summer here in Oklahoma. Stayed very hot for very long. And we were out 4 or 5 days ago and it was 75 degrees, 62-degree water temp in November. And that's kind of rare. And so we said, well, we need to go do a timber video. In the summer months, the warmer months, these crappie are stuck to wood. They love sticking to standing timber, brush piles, those types of things. As it cools off, as this water temp cools down, which we just had a big cold front come through, these fish will start moving off of timber, moving out of the brush piles and out into open water. And that's when it gets really, really fun, because that's when the fish put on the most weight and they're the biggest they're going to be all year. From about December through the end of March, maybe middle of April, because they're spawning and have those eggs. So they're still really big and fat. But we'll start catching them, and you'll see it on camera. We'll start catching them with shad tails hanging out of their throats, you know, and hopefully, you know, catch some true gigantes, as my buddies call it. Some just giant crappie. I don't want to jinx it by saying a 3-pounder, but I will. We're going to do our best to put a 3-pounder on the deck, you know, throughout this series and see if we can do it. 3-pound fish, crappie in Oklahoma are tough.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, let's get into the size of the crappie. What you consider a big crappie, what is a big crappie, what a trophy crappie is, that type of stuff. So it's episode 1 of CTL Crappie Talk Live. We'll be back right after this.
One Standard products are designed and built to help you catch more fish.
Man, now that is a good one right there. Look at that. We got a pair of them on there. This fish here absolutely choked it. Welcome to the fish fry, old buddy.
Unrivaled designs, the best components and precision manufacturing create products of the highest standard.
One thing a crappie fisherman needs to do is keep mixing it up, and through the baits that you're going to have in this package, you're going to be able to do that at one time.
Visit onestandardfishing.com to fish better.
At BEATDOWN Outdoors, we know you depend on your gear to hold up in any condition. We built for that. We test for that. In fact, we pride ourselves in that. Because we know when the time comes to test your gear, you aren't going to take it easy, so we won't. We build premium, made-in-the-USA products that you can rely on in the moments when your equipment should be the last thing on your mind.
In 2023, we became a household name in the crappie fishing world thanks to Power Breaks, the game changer. Hey, bass fishing world, buckle up, because you're next. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the next evolution of our product line, Power Breaks Sidekick, designed to install right on your shallow water acres. We are the first and only fishing brake company to offer a breakaway system. Just like with the Game Changer, the Power Breaks Sidekick has it as well. And it's not a matter of if you're going to need it, it's when. Power Breaks, the most durable fishing brakes available on the market today. Made right here in the USA with our rock-solid 2-year warranty. Hey, not all fishing brakes are built equally, and you owe it to yourself to find out why ours are different. Power Breaks Sidekick. Order yours today at mypowerbrakes.com. You'll be glad you did.
All right, welcome back. Crappie Talk Live, the first episode teaching bass anglers how to catch crappie. Is the crappie world going to be pissed about this? Like, I understand bass, but listen, I'm a realist, and like if I stumbled upon a tournament crappie angler who was like, "Hey guys, we're going to teach crappie guys how to catch bass," I would probably watch it with a little bit more of a fine-tooth comb, so to speak. I really don't care either way, but like, is this?
They're going to be nitpicking everything I say. I hang out with a lot of high-level crappie pros and hardcore tournament anglers, and I lived in that world for a lot of years, and really enjoyed it. But they'll be nitpicking everything I say, but they won't be pissed.
You mentioned that. Talk a little bit about.
Let me real quick though. Give me that plaque right there. This is what might piss them off, and I'm all for it.
That's why it's right there.
If y'all don't know,
I've made more money crappie. Well, no, I did cash a check in the opens at the end of the year. That is the only hardware I got this year was for a dang 600 boat crappie tournament.
600 boat crappie tournament, one big fish on Lake Fork. Matt Pangrac shows up. And who'd you fish with?
Jared Miller.
And
Jared Miller cashed a check as well.
Top 40
did. Oh yeah, so that's up on the deal right there. You're dang right. I was doing Crappie Talk Live. I said I've got my Crappie Fest plaque right there. I'm asking. You don't have to be humble about it. Talk a little bit about your credentials in the crappie world, what you've done, kind of how you've got started, who you've worked with. It's pretty impressive.
So I got started crappie fishing and tournament crappie fishing when my dad retired about 12 years ago, and he bought his first boat. We'd been pond hoppers my entire life, and I've just loved fishing, been eating up with it my whole life, and grew up bass fishing, pond hopping, jerking perch, stuff like that. When he got a boat, we learned how to crappie fish, and it was not easy for us, way pre-live scope, pre-forward-facing sonar. So I start crappie fishing club tournaments without forward-facing sonar, loved it, got into it, was terrible at it. I mean, just took me, I had a lot to learn. And then I got better and better. Live scope came out. It was the first one, and I was very fortunate. I got it early on. I was one of the first people in the country to have it, and picked it up very quickly and really saw the power that it brought to the fishing world. And I was really confused because more and more people weren't picking it up. Crappie guys were, but bass guys weren't. They're little late adapters, walleye guys, all that. And then I got into fishing national tournaments whenever I went to work for the Bass Tank, and I worked there for about 5 years, and had a great time there, and fished a lot of national tournaments, had some success, won a huge tournament at Grenada Lake in Mississippi.
That's like the Falcon Lake of bass lakes, for those who don't know. Like Grenada is, like a 40-pound bag at Falcon is what you do crappie wise on Grenada.
Yeah, it is the premier destination in the nation for big crappie fishing. My tournament partner and I at the time, Dylan Hackler, we set a new world record over a 2-day tournament at Grenada. We had 7 fish is what you used to weigh in at crappie tournaments per day. So 2 days we had 14 fish that weighed in at 42.84, which is a 306 average, which is insane.
Yeah, my PB is 306.
Exactly.
And you had 2 7 fish limits of 306.
Yeah.
What was your big fish?
374.
Holy smokes.
374. And
take that into account. Like, think about when you're in a bass tournament and you're fishing and you need, you catch a 3 3/4 pounder. I don't care where you are in the country, whatever it is. Like a 3 3/4 pounder is usually your kicker for the day. Or, you're belly landing that. Zeke, that is crappie.
Yeah, we were boat flipping these 3-pounders.
Yeah.
I mean, that 374 we netted. But, we had multiple 350s, 330s. The stars aligned for us that day. And, we took home, more importantly than the big check, the giant gold trophies from Crappie Masters. And I've been fortunate enough to get a few of those over the years. But that tournament, they're one of the most memorable. I won a big tournament on Lake Fork where it was 1 man, 1 pole, jig only. And
was that the slogan for the tournament? 1 man, 1 pole, jig only.
It was. I know in bass fishing that's normal.
No, but that would be awesome in bass fishing if it was like you get 1 flipping stick.
Yeah.
And a 1/2 ounce Denny Brower black and blue flipping jig and a pork chunk. And that's what everyone's fishing with.
That's pretty much
what
it was. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And the best in the country were there. And again, the stars aligned for me. And that was probably the biggest tournament because it was early in my career and really launched me to where, people were watching me. And that was recently after I started with the Bass Tank. And I was MC for the American Crappie Trail for a year. Now I'm working for Integrated Boat Works. And so just trying to progress my career.
You're MC at Crappie Fest.
MC at Crappie Fest, which is so fun and so tiring as an MC with 600 entries last year.
Yeah, I would challenge anybody if you're in that area and you're new to this and you're getting into it. Set a goal for yourself to learn how to do this and fish Crappie Fest in 2026.
Last weekend of March
like,
on Lake Fork.
I said 600 boats. It was 600 entries because there's like pontoon boats with 3 or 4 people on it. There's jet skis.
Yeah.
There's aluminums. There's guys with bass boats with the crappie power brakes on it. There's everything under the sun. And I did not know that I've never seen a bigger redneck party in my life.
Dude, it's so
live
fun.
Music at the pavilion, literally thousands of people there.
Booths set up.
You weigh this fish in, they hang up your individual. It's just your one single biggest fish. Literally, people go nuts. Then there's live music afterwards. There's food. It is one of my coolest fishing memories that I have competing in Crappie Fest.
I love telling people that you got 5th place in this thing.
Yeah.
And how much you enjoy it.
And this is not about, this whole thing is not, this has nothing to do with tournament fishing, with competition, with nothing. The whole thing, the reason why I like this is because I enjoy it and I don't feel any pressure or any stress with it.
We just have fun, man.
I could see this once a year.
Yeah, Crappie Fest, the biggest crappie event of the year, every year. Cassandra Gann does a great job with it. Jerry Hancock, Travis Decker, they just do such a great job. And I'm thrilled to be a part of it as EMC. Feel very lucky to be in that position. And, man, I am looking forward to it next year. I just hope the weather is as good as it was for us last year.
No, it was it was a little windy on tournament day, but the power breaks helped me out there. I think being a bass guy and having scoped in 2-3 footers like really helps when it comes to the crappie game. I actually, there's been articles written about it. Michael Neal's done articles about it. Lawyers done articles about it. I've talked about it. I think precision scoping, I think you can't get a better learning tool than using live scope for crappie.
I agree. We talked about that the other day when we were out on the water. I think the best way to learn how to live scope bass is to learn how to live scope crappie, because it's up close and personal. It's a lot easier than recognizing something that's out there 80 or 100 feet away. And, oh, that's a bass. This is a much more simplified version. And something else we should talk about based on the video that we just played to start this show is, and you'll see it as we produce more and more of this content, those fish on this video look long. The crappie did. They look long. And that's because they're down deeper in the water column. The shallower they are, they're going to look like blobs.
Wait for next week's video.
That's exactly. Tomorrow when we go out, we're looking for blobs, round blobs that look like silver dollars on the screen. And you all have to forgive me, a precursor here. I'm used to fishing with a 12-inch unit on the bow of the boat, and Matt's got a 16 because he's spoiled rotten, and I love it.
I would like to think I work fairly hard.
No, you work really hard.
I'm
just giving you a hard time. But on those the bigger the unit you get, the bigger the screen, the bigger those blobs are. So I might be dropping on a fish that I think's 2.5 pounds, and it's going to be 1.75 pounds or something.
We got it. That's what it kind of, we went to break on. Let's talk about the size of a crappie. What is a big crappie? What is a trophy crappie? What is a giant? How does that relate to based on where you are in the country? Like, what is worthy of sending a picture to your buddy and saying, hey, look at this crappie?
If you're getting into it, your first 2-pound crappie that you catch is a milestone.
So that's like catching your 8-pound bass.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It really is.
Not a 10, an 8.
An 8, yeah.
In the general part, it's like catching a 5-pound smallmouth.
Exactly.
Okay, so 2 pounds. If you're getting into this, you need to make that mark 2.00. And
you're going to catch 1.5 pound fish, 1.5 fish, and you're going to think they're 2-pounders. You got to put these fish on a scale. Yep. I can't preach it enough. Matt knows I've been preaching this to him for years.
Yeah, you
got to put these fish on a scale because you're not used to crappie. You may be able to hold a bass and go, this is 2.25, and you might be dead on. But these crappie, it's different for whatever reason. You always think it's bigger. So put them on a scale. But that 2-pound mark is really that milestone. When I first started crappie fishing, that was my goal. It's like,
and that is from Florida to California.
Absolutely.
2-pound crappie.
Not really California, but I would say Florida to Arizona.
Florida to Arizona.
Definitely to Texas, yeah.
2 pounds.
Yeah. And that's a huge milestone.
Okay.
And once you do it, you're going to realize why, especially if you're boat flipping them with these rods that we've talked about. You're going to understand when you're boat flipping a 1.25-pound fish versus a 2-pound fish, you'll feel the difference and you'll know it. But then once you hit that milestone, it's going to get increasingly difficult to hit the 250 mark. That 250 mark, you'll catch 220s, 230s, 240s. Hitting that 250 mark is hard.
So my first fish over 2 took a year, but my first one over 2 was a 263.
I know where you were. And yes,
an average fish.
I'm not surprised on that lake.
But I would 100% agree. What percentage of lakes that have crappie, whether it's the pond, Lake X down the road, or whether it's Lake Eufaula, Texoma, Eufaula, Alabama, what percent of lakes would you say that have a population of crappie in that kind of band hold 2-pound crappie that are catchable?
100% of them.
Really?
Every one of them,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're not in one of those lakes where they're all stunted and tiny and
if it's a small city lake or something, it's just overpopulated. Mm-hmm. But these, lakes that are 25, 35, 100,000 acres.
Thunderbird, 2-pounders.
There you go.
Shawnee Twin, there's a 2-pounder in there.
They're in there. Now,
yep.
Some are going to have more than others.
Yep.
But they're definitely in there. And especially if you've got a lake that has a mix of white crappie and black crappie, and which produces some hybrid crappie. Hybrid crappie, cross between a white and a black, they get the biggest. All of your records are hybrid crappie, weight-wise.
Okay.
They're sterile, so they can't reproduce, but for whatever reason, they definitely grow the biggest. But pretty much any lake out there is going to have 2+ pound fish. I mean, we were just talking to Jody about the lakes up north and the giants that he's catching up there. It makes me want to go up there.
Kind of last segment for this opening show of CTL. Here's what I want to kind of do. I want you to give your expertise to give people who haven't done this, who haven't gone out, kind of the framework, the groundwork. If you went on that video, we kind of went through how you're looking for them kind of earlier, kind of in that fall in the timber. You saw the live scope. Without kind of rehashing that, let's say you're listening, you've got a couple lakes that have crappie in it. Maybe you've seen people crappie fish. You've caught them out there over the past years. Walk through from now until determining, hey, this is a fishery that has potential to really put a 250 on the board, what your steps are going to be when you launch that boat.
So right now, and we talked a little bit about it last week, these fish are starting to transition. They're starting to move. Mm-hmm. So they're really moving into the mouths of secondary river channels that are coming into the lake, feeding the main river channel. That's where I would start looking, especially if you don't have a lake full of timber, because all of these channels have stumps along the side of them. Channel bends are huge because brush and laydowns get hung up in those bends during big rains, and they just get stuck there for years and years and years. So look at your maps, utilize your maps, focus on those bends and river channels. There have been so many days where I've been fishing and I can't find anything. And then I say, okay, I got to sit down, look at my map, and just focus on bends. And I will run big motor from bend to bend in the river channel. A lot of these crappie guys now, they're not running. A lot of them still do, but you'll see crappie guys with $100,000 bass boats, that can run 70 miles an hour because they're starting to figure out we got to move more. The old adage was don't leave fish to find fish.
So being a bass fisherman is a strength in today's crappie game.
Huge strength. You have better boat control than, no offense, all my friends.
You're about to get some texts.
Yeah, these guys have better boat control than most of us.
You notice a difference. Like, you've been out on the boat with me a lot. But, I mean, like I was out with Jody White today and we're fishing. We're all pretty much the same on the front as far as how fast we move and can look for it if you're a scoper. Like, you notice a difference between a bass guy and a traditional crappie guy on the front of the boat.
You trying to get me in trouble right now?
No, I'm seriously asking.
Yes, 100%.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
The biggest difference that I notice is a bass guy that is converted crappie, like Pangrac has done, is able to fish 10 times faster than your average crappie angler.
Okay.
And that is the biggest difference. We get because crappie mentality all for over years and years and years. has been get on top of a brush pile, hit spot lock, and drop minnows down there and catch fish.
Which we've never done.
And
as a bass guy.
we will never. Well, I haven't done in years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have done that. It is kind of fun.
It's fun. I mean, it's fun.
Not many of those get released.
No, those are 10-inch fish going to the grease.
You're putting a minnow on a gold Aberdeen hook.
Exactly.
It's not going.
No.
You're not sport fishing at that point.
No, but my point is, that's the mentality with so many of these crappie anglers is they'll get on one tree or one brush pile and they'll try to force feed fish. And especially if you're targeting giants, giant fish, you get to a point where you can size them up by the size of the blob on the screen. And you get a pretty good idea of how big they are. And I mean, I can usually get within a quarter pound of how big a fish is.
Yeah.
I get fooled.
Jody, I was within like 2 ounces most of the time.
Yeah.
Before you even caught the fish.
Yeah.
You could tell. Key point that we talked about there on the live scope, on the active target, on the settings, we're used to running them at 80 to 120. You can run it out a little bit further if you want to in this, but this is a totally different ballgame. Your live scope, everything is going to look totally different. I keep my settings the exact same as they are with bass, but I'm running it obviously manual, depending on where the fish are or whatever. Like if they're in the top part of the water column, I'm only running it at 20 feet. I don't care about the bottom if the fish are floating, if they're on the timber. And general rule of thumb, and there's always going to be exceptions if you want to get into it, but general rule of thumb for tonight, for the first episode of CTL, set that thing at either 50 or 60 feet, and you're going to see a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Regardless of what lake you're on.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of things that at 50 feet look enormous compared to what they do at 100. And you would be shocked how many bass anglers, me included, will go a year and we'll never zoom in past 65. Like maybe if we're on like a dock that we're really trying to dial in.
Which is wild to me, obviously. But what you didn't mention was when you're scanning, looking for a target, you're ranged out 50 to 60 feet.
Right. So that's it. So like you're starting at 50, like we started 100.
Yeah.
And you're panning.
Yeah.
And then when you see it and you lock in on it, you're then zooming in manually, reaching down, hitting the button to 30 feet.
Yep.
And that allows you with the 15-foot rod, and you can watch from the beginning of the video here, to drop that bait vertically on the fish and to watch it react and to see it react. Like, it's so cool to watch a fish that looks like a ball, that lights up, that sees it, and that eats it. Quick picture, you put it back in the water, and you're not hurting the resource. You're not killing that fish. You're enjoying your day, aided 100% by technology. And I've yet to have someone in the boat with me who doesn't giggle and laugh and high five and their mind is blown when they experience it for the first time.
I love taking new people to do this. People that have never done it before. The guys that have had forward-facing sonar for years, but they've never crappie fished with it. And they've never really been successful using their forward-facing sonar, even for bass. And I say, come jump on the boat with me for a few hours. I want to show you how powerful it is catching crappie. And it's the same reaction every time, like you said, laughing, giggling, just over the moon. And to me, it never gets old watching a fish that's just sitting dead still, balled up like my fist, and then all of a sudden when you'll know you've got their attention because you'll see them start doing this, flashing on the screen. They'll be flashing, they just start wiggling a little, and then you raise your bait a little once they start doing that, and they'll do that. And once they turn up on it, start slowly raising your bait. They'll just start following. Sometimes they'll eat it immediately, but sometimes they want to follow it, and they'll chase it up. And I've had them hit it 6 inches under the surface before, bringing them up from 18 or 20 foot down.
And we're going to get all the basics out of the way here tonight, which I think is the way to do this. Don't you, Zeke?
Oh, yeah.
What is a crappie going to look like on the screen? Now, the size is going to vary based on watercolor, based on how much you like to run your gain. I'm running mine at 66 right now. But what is the shape that you are looking for?
You're really looking for, if they're 12 to 14 foot or shallower, they're usually going to show up as a ball shape on the screen. I call it, you're looking for a silver dollar.
It literally is a perfect circle.
Perfect circle. The deeper they go, as you saw in our video, they elongate. And so they look a little bit different. It's a little tougher to size them up the deeper they are. But with what we're going to do tomorrow, I think next week we'll be able to show you guys exactly what we're wanting to show you, which is going to be how to target bigger fish, and how to recognize bigger fish on your screen. There's a lot of crappie guys that don't care about catching size. There's old school anglers, and they want to go catch their limit or close to their limit, whatever they can catch, take home, clean, put in the freezer. But I think bass guys are more interested in, let's learn how to hunt these giants.
Yeah. I haven't had a bass guy out that I've taught that's like, oh, can we keep these? Yeah. It's like, we must release this animal.
Yeah. The specimen.
Because it's not like a crappie. We're going to differ a little bit on this. And I know that you have tens of thousands more hours on me, but in general, and we'll go into videos on all of these things. And one of the cool things with this CTL is it is powered by One Standard, which is a new premium crappie tackle company. But when we signed One Standard, he said, listen, one of the sacred, one of the unique, one of the cool things about this crappie industry are the small companies, the one-offs, the hand-tied hair jigs, the unique jigs, the plastics, all of that. And One Standard was like, that's awesome. In keeping with the bass thing, hey, if you're going to buy one brand of jig, you're going to try other brands of jigs, and you're not going to have to spend $150, and you can get 5 packs of them for $20. Yeah. So One Standard throughout the show for the baits, we used them a lot in this first episode here, but as this continues, you're going to see a lot of other baits, other jig heads, other companies that are kind of going to be highlighted, which a big shout out to One Standard for being like, yeah, no, that's totally cool. We're all in on that. But that being said, they also have given us a code, BTL15, capital BTL15, at onestandardfishing.com. The link to that is in the show. If you want to kind of get started on it, they have an all-in-one kit. You save over 40%. You can buy all that stuff. Make sure to use capital BTL15 for that. And then each week, we're going to kind of highlight some of the other offerings, whether it be plastic, whether it be hair. I mean, as I've gotten into it, it's really cool for me because I'm not like used to it or anything, to see all the different guys who kind of pour their heart and souls, or the smaller companies or the off branches of the giant companies that you don't even realize had the crappie thing. But that's kind of like, I think that's kind of synonymous with crappie fishing, are those kind of mom and pop one-off tackle companies.
We've got a lot of them. And the reason I love that is because a lot of times these little tiny mom and pop companies, sometimes they're one-man shows, and they're doing it as a side gig. But they are so passionate about it and produce such great products. And you guys will see in the coming weeks, and we'll highlight a lot of these companies and give them their credit, because it's definitely due. And we want to try to help everybody grow. One Standard's been great. They jumped on board really quick with us. Super happy to have them. And I mean, you saw their baits in action in the video. They're proven fish catchers. So, but I am excited to highlight a lot of these smaller companies in the industry. These smaller companies in the crappie industry, there's just not a lot of real big ones out there in the crappie world. And so these smaller guys really push this industry and move it forward.
So that's a precursor to, if you're going to start out with baits, what size, what jig heads, hair, plastic. Like I said, we're laying the groundwork here.
Yeah. So This time of year, you can start getting away with using your bigger baits, your 2.5 inch and 3 inch plastic baits.
You can't use words like that with the bass crowd here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bigger for crappie. But if they knew what I was used to using, what I typically start with, which is a 1/32 ounce hair jig, that's a small bait. And in summertime, the fish are more finicky, and I do recommend having at least down to a 16th ounce, 16th, 8th, quarters as big as you need to go, and some different size plastics, but also get yourself some 32nd ounce, 16th ounce, and 8th ounce hair jigs. Get a mix of those. I love Cyclops jigs. They're great. They make a lot of different sizes, different profiles. One standard jigs are great. You guys, but you need an assortment, because I've learned that profile is more important than color. Most days with crappie fishing, I might have to switch jigs 4 or 5 times, but once I find the right profile, it doesn't matter if it's, black and chartreuse or white and chartreuse.
Interesting.
They'll pretty much eat it. I've had a few days where color really mattered, but when I start out, any lake I go to, I don't care if it's clear water or muddy water. And we have a lot of muddy water lakes. That was pretty clear what we fished the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I will start out with a 16th or 8th ounce white and chartreuse hair jig. That is my go-to. Pink head, by the way. Pink head, white body, chartreuse tail. And I like it if it's got a little bit of flash in the tail. A couple strips of silver, shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I start with pretty much any new lake I ever go to.
I'm fairly similar. My go-to would be an 1/8 ounce lead head jig with a chartreuse and black or a chartreuse and blue 2 to 3 inch plastic.
Yeah.
That's actually what I think we were using, was that Minnow 1
I think so.
On an 1/8 ounce.
Yeah. I think
from my experiences,
8 ounce hair jig.
Yeah, you were using an 1/8 ounce hair jig. You were using the custom hair jig. We didn't use the one standard hair jigs yesterday. I've got them in that tackle box that was in there, and I keep forgetting that they have their hair jigs in the. I'm used to like hair jigs coming in, like things that you can tell they're hair jigs, but it comes like in the same as the plastic. So every time I open the box, I'm like, why do I have 75 bags of plastics with me? I need 2, but they're hair jigs, so we'll have to try those out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll use those small.
But same thing. That's my total confidence bait.
And I know we mentioned it in the video, but I peg a 1/4 ounce tungsten weight up above it, and it's so crucial.
Bobber stop, tungsten weight, bobber stop, 1/4 ounce tungsten weight, bobber stop, 18 inches, 1/8 ounce hair jig or 1/8 ounce plastic.
Yep,
and you're good.
Yeah, and 18 inches, I'll go anywhere from 6 inches to 18 inches, however you want to adjust it. Really, whatever helps you see it better and recognize it better on your forward-facing sonar screen, set it up that way. But again, you got to be aware of dropping that bait down, because if I'm using a 1/4 ounce tungsten weight above an 1/8 ounce jig, that tungsten weight's going to end up down first, and then my bait's going to pendulum down. So make sure to stop your bait a couple feet above the fish.
Frank, it's not a slip bobber. It's a bobber stopper.
It's
literally a bobber stopper, a tungsten weight, and a bobber stopper. It's like you're doing a Texas rig in reverse.
Whatever that means. I'll trust you on that one.
Bobber stopper, tungsten weight, bobber stopper. All it does is it keeps it above the line. All right. Last big thing I think we need to talk about before we wrap up episode 1 is water clarity. Water clarity is massive on this. There's a big difference between what you're trying to do if you go do it at 10 killer down by the dam, and if you do it at Eufaula above I-40.
Yeah, I got you. So water clarity is huge, and I get to address something else real quick regarding water clarity. I've been selling electronics for 8, 9, 10 years now, and people ask all the time, does forward-facing sonar work in muddy water? Yes, it does. If anyone's wondering that, it works phenomenally well. But in clear water, fish are naturally going to be spookier, and you're not going to be able to get as close to them as you can if the water's just like Eufaula. Matt said Oklahoma, Eufaula, north of I-40 bridge, very muddy, 2 inches of visibility maybe, where 10 killer below this. Yeah. You've got 10 feet of visibility.
Yeah. You're more like if we do a clear water episode, that's where the 7-foot spinning rods and
Correct.
the 6-pound test
Correct.
and the 16th and little gets it style stuff comes into play. That's more
Finesse.
More finesse actually casting to them.
Yes. I stay back. I try to stay back off of them 25 to 30 feet.
And that's fun. But we really in this episode want to highlight jacking them.
Yeah. And I love
like this is the
vertical
top
on
water bites. This is the punch-in bites. This is the kind of glide bait bites of the crappie world is what we're doing.
Yeah. It's so fun. And when you're able to get that close to them, you're really picking out one fish at a time. You know if you've got a good one that you're dropping on. And it's very exciting. In clear water, they typically school up. Again, I don't know why, but you typically find more blackfish in clear water. Like 10 killer's got a ton of black crappie.
Black crappie, hybrid crappie, and white crappie.
Yeah, correct. And those black crappie tend to school up more. And so you can't pick out the biggest ones of the school. And so if, just for instance, if I'm tournament fishing, I am looking for white crappie. I'm looking for singles, the biggest ones I can find. And if I'm just out fun fishing, a lot of times I do that as well, unless I'm just trying to catch some for the freezer, which I got to do every once in a while. I don't have a freezer full of yellow perch like you.
Yeah, no, I've got I got a 50. Well, no, I don't have a limit of yellow perch in there anymore because we ate some tonight and I gave you a pack and then I ate some last week. So I don't know. I might have to head up to Wisconsin with Matt Steffen and do it again. But I think we've covered a lot of the basics tonight. What this kind of allows you to do is a groundwork. It's a basis to where when you start getting into the really technical stuff that, you know, like you'll be in the boat. And the way that I think it works best is I like to fish by myself, but I also love to be in the boat with a buddy in this crappie fishing stuff. It's usually safer when it's colder outside, 40-degree weather. You've got your AFCO bibs on and everything and you alternate. There's two ways to do it from what you've kind of taught me is you have two guys that are up front. And if the fish is on the left side, you can drop on it. If it's on the right side, your buddy can drop on it. More often than not, especially when it's cold out, when it's not alternating, where, like Jody White and I yesterday when we did it, I showed him a couple times and he's like, wow, that is not at all how I expected it to be. And then he got it. And then we would just alternate. He would catch one, then I would catch one, then he would catch one and I would watch and he would catch one. And then, and so that's
how I prefer to do it. I've got some friends that they'll partner fish because tournament crappie fishing is two guys typically fishing together. And the first guy will pitch to the crappie. And if it doesn't react or, chase his bait, then the next guy they'll get closer and he'll vertical fish it. So there's multiple ways to do it, but I prefer it just like you're talking about, Matt, like how we did it last week. You catch one, I catch one, you catch one, I catch four. You try for 10 minutes and I catch another couple.
Yeah. You said that you try for 10 minutes. Sometimes you'll put it on the fish and it'll instantly light up like you saw and go up and eat it. I showed one in that video there, that eagle that I literally put it on its nose, but I dropped twice on that fish and it didn't even move. And then the third time it did it, there was one yesterday we fished for probably 8 to 10 minutes on that fish to the point where we're kind of looking for a rope to see maybe if it was like a old buoy or
decoy
a pop
fish
can or something, like a 2-liter bottle that was marking a brush pile or something. I zoomed out to see the bottom and then, pushed it over its back, brought it in. It just lit up and ate it right away. But I'd probably dropped 30 times on it and spent 10 minutes on that fish before it actually bit.
It's the most aggravating thing to me. Bass guys are used to, you'll chase one fish forever, right? I'm such a different mentality. If it's not going to eat, then I'm going to move to the next one because they're crappie, they're panfish, they're everywhere. There's more of them, unless it's a giant. Then I'm sit there working that fish. I have had times where I've literally taken one of my long rods, a 15-foot rod, and poked the fish with it to wake it up. I don't know if they're sleeping. I don't know what they do. But if it won't react to a bait over and over, I'll run my rod down there. I won't necessarily hit the fish, but I'll disturb the water and they'll wake up and they'll start swimming, and then I chase them down and catch them.
Most of the fish are not also there. It's also not, fish that are actively hunting. They're sitting. I call them Easter eggs.
Mhm.
Some guys call them pumpkins.
Silver
Some
dollars.
guys call them big ass crappie.
Yeah.
But Easter, I call it hunting Easter eggs.
Mhm.
When you're out, you're on a lake, you know what you're looking for. You see it a couple times. And I think one of the coolest things that I want a lot of these people to experience is, you're on the water a lot. And the more you're on the water, the less you get that where your heart jumps, where you're like, I love that, like the little kids who are screaming, oh my God, they reel it in and like their whole world like revolves around it. Like one of the coolest things is when you're panned out at 50 and you hit it with the beam, and without a shadow of a doubt, you're like, that is it. That is the one that I've been looking for. Like that's it.
Yeah.
It glows. It doesn't break up. It's not bait fish. You get on it. The more you look at it, the more and then, you're with someone and you're like, dude, that's a 270.
Yeah.
That's a 280. Or, oh my, like the best one is that could be a 3.
Yeah. And you know it immediately when they pop up on screen. You try to trick yourself when you're big fish hunting and you're like, oh, that one might be a good one. And we did it a few days ago.
Yeah.
And I got fooled multiple times because I was trying to convince myself. But
you won't get fooled tomorrow.
Every time that you shoot that beam at a giant and hit it, like this is the one. This is what we've been looking for.
One more this is like a non-negotiable for me. I'm not into blowing lakes up.
Yeah.
You say what you want about forward-facing sonar. You can smoke a lake doing this, especially a small lake.
A small lake,
because there's 250 acre lakes that have 3-pound crappie in them.
Yep. We've seen it. We've witnessed it.
We've
witnessed 2,000 acre lakes get cleaned out.
This isn't a show that's going to tell you where to fish. It's going to tell you how to fish and give you the confidence to find your own fish on 100,000 acre body of water, on a 5,000 acre body of water, wherever. We're over the course of this going to fish over 20 different ponds.
Some of
lakes.
them brand new water that we've never been on.
We will not, unless we're on like a Lake Eufaula or something like that. Won't name it, won't talk about it. There's not going to be the opening where we're dumping the boat in the ramp at the beginning, not answering comments about where we are. It's not because we don't want you guys to catch fish. It's an example. How many good crappie lakes over 500 acres exist in Oklahoma, Zeke?
Oh, God. Hundreds, I would say.
That's all you need. How many
Hundreds?
In Arkansas and Mississippi and Alabama
even more.
and Texas and
Even
Kansas?
more. Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, Illinois, Ohio.
That's the biggest thing. Like the coolest part of this is saying, you know what? This meets the criteria. This meets the criteria. I don't even know if there's a crappie in there, and you go and you're panning and you're 30 minutes in. And then all of a sudden you like round a main lake point and there's like a channel there and boom, you see a floater.
I would rather get messages from people, from our listeners and watchers. Tell me what lake you're on and I'll look it up. And I'll give you some pointers if I can on where to go start looking.
Yeah.
I'll pull up the map, and I'd rather do that than blow up all these lakes that, we're going to be fishing.
Yeah.
Because we want to keep fishing and catching them.
And it is. And it just seems right. There's other people that fish them that have all of that. And, one of the things is even the good lakes, like I rotate them, man. Like I don't sit there and go back day after day, week after week. Like the best lakes that I know in the state, I'll go 6 to 8 times a year.
Yeah. We're going tomorrow.
And release them 6 to 8 times a year.
Oh, these small lakes, these 2,000 and smaller acre lakes, you really need to release fish. Mm-hmm. But where we're going tomorrow is one of the best lakes in Oklahoma. And like I told Matt earlier, I haven't been there in over 2 years.
And I think I went 3 times last year.
Yeah. And had a really good day.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to say that, not trying to be dicks.
Yeah. We love everybody. We want everybody to learn how to do this. That's why we're doing this. It's fun for us, and we hope that it's fun for you guys that are watching and listening. we appreciate y'all's support.
Zeke does not have an email for CTL. You can email me, matt@basszone.com, and I will forward that on to Zeke. I don't know if that's in your job description, but what we will definitely have is a Q&A show.
Absolutely.
Where we have the ability for you guys to video call in and ask questions and things like that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. This is a work in progress. It's a passion project. I got married last month.
Yeah, it was awesome. Beautiful wedding, by the way. Beautiful.
You were there. I gave you the head nod, and then you had to bounce.
Yeah, I double committed that evening, so I had to run back.
I appreciate you coming, but it's a lot of work to kind of launch something new. We have a lot more partners that are coming on with CTL. There'll be more links. There'll be more details on discounts, codes, giveaways, things like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to get something out. Needed to get something out. I thought it would be like show up and get married, but it was kind of like a wedding month, like in a good way though. Yeah. But like I'd never been married before. I didn't know. There's a lot of crap to go, a lot of things, a lot of very lovely things
very
that
busy.
go into the wedding month.
Absolutely.
And CTO was not one of those.
No, we had it going, then it got put on the back burner for a little while so you could get married, and then we jumped right back into it.
But I'll tell you what, I've gone crappie fishing 3 out of the last 6 days, like 5 out of the last 9. I'm super pumped about it. We're going to have guys from companies on. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to catch giant crappie. And some of the stuff that we've seen, I can't wait to share it with everybody. Also, if you're a BTL person and you're watching and listening to this going, oh, great. All the BTL content is going to stay the same. I know it's been a little bit different. Like I got Jody White in town this week, so we did an evening show, and then we did a normal show this morning. So there's kind of just some discrepancies on the time, but that's how it goes. That's one of the cool things you do when you have your own show. You can kind of have it whenever you want, but this does not take the place of BTL. This is in addition to BTL. There's still the Monday through Wednesday will be an evening show tomorrow because Zeke and I are going out on that. But it does not take the place of anything BTL. There's still day 4 with Frank Scalish. Actually,
you gonna tell him?
Yeah, we're gonna go try to catch state records with Frank in January. and Frank is freaking jacked. And I think we're all jacked about it, but I cannot wait to see Frank Scalish and Zeke in the front of the Bass Cat trying to catch a 4.5-pound crappie.
Oh, wow. That's a big ask, but we're going to try to do it.
Percentage chance? There is a percentage chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. It's not high, but yeah, there's always a chance.
I think we'll close it off from there. Thank you for all the comments and all the well wishes. This is the inaugural edition of Crappie Talk Live. Stay tuned next Tuesday evening for the drop of the first standalone video, and then the week after that we'll kind of be working around that Thanksgiving time frame. But Zeke will be back in studio. Can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know you're kind of going out on a limb here like this.
Love it.
If any of those crappie guys give you crap, just give them my number. I'm not well, no, there are some of the crappie guys that are pretty dang tough.
There's some
I'm not gonna lie, there's some barrel-chested crappie guys at Crappie Fest.
There's some monsters.
I was like, that guy definitely has multiple knives on him.
Yes. Yeah. You never really know, but I'm sure.
And as a whole, 100% of the crappie guys I've met have been awesome. They've been pumped. They're like, what are you doing? How are you getting into this? Obviously, we're going to bring Kevin Rogers into this show. Kevin Rogers is probably, I would say the Tom Brady, but that would offend him. He is the Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, there you go.
He is the Patrick Mahomes of the crappie to bass to crappie, like crappie world. Now he fishes professionally for bass and stuff, but he's been really cool. I kind of reached out to him. He's like, yeah, whatever you need on that. Jeremy Lawyer, one standard pro, but also on the Bass Pro Tour. He's going to be involved in this project. Obviously, the capital THE, Frank Scalish, and you as well. So I think we've got a hell of a cast for the next 3 months of CTL.
We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm just excited to be a part of it and grateful. And y'all stay tuned because things will only get better the colder it gets. The fish will get bigger. The bite will get better. It's going to be a lot of fun.
CTL next Tuesday night. Next video drops. We'll talk to everyone then. See ya.